Good morning. Today on Spotlight, an interview with Michigan Democratic Congressman Andy Levin of Bloomfield Township. From Ukraine to inflation to the State of the Union address to a Supreme Court nominee to his campaign for re-election. A full plate of topics indeed. And later on our Sunday morning program, we'll check in with Dr. James M. Smith, the president of Eastern Michigan University. He too has a full plate. It's Sunday, March the 6th. I'm Chuck Stokes, and this is Spotlight. So much going on this past week. President Biden delivered his first State of the Union address. We've got Ukraine. We'll try to get to as much of it as we can. Let's start with the president's State of the Union address. You've seen a boatload of them. How did this one compare?
You know, Chuck, it was really a great one. The president was right on point. His advocacy, strength about Ukraine was just incredible. The unity in the room, in the House chamber was really strong. He also had a unity agenda towards the end that I thought was really great. And he hit on a lot of our important priorities to lower costs and raise wages for working people, like passing the Protecting the Right to Organize Act, raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, providing childcare with no family having to pay more than 7% of their income. So I thought it was a really strong speech.
Let's start on the international front. Ukraine, he led with that and took up a decent amount of his time in his speech with that. Has the president done a good job of keeping you in the loop?
Yes, actually, they've done a really good job. We've had multiple classified briefings from the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, the Director of National Intelligence.
Full transparency.
Yeah, we're following it in real time.
All right. What are you hearing from your constituents back here in the 9th District? Obviously, this is not at our doorsteps, but people are concerned all around the world.
Yeah, well, this week, my constituents came to me to some extent. I was really honored to convene a bipartisan gathering of the Congressional Ukraine Caucus at the Holodomor Memorial near Union Station in Washington, D.C. People came from Detroit, Baltimore, Philadelphia, and beyond to say that we are going to stand with Ukraine, protect the sovereignty, the territorial integrity of Ukraine, no matter what, no matter how long it takes. It's so tragic, Chuck. Let's be clear. Vladimir Putin is committing war crimes and crimes against humanity. He's using a kind of bombs that are not allowed under the rules of war. He is targeting civilian locations like apartment buildings that are not allowed. And it's causing untold human suffering. And it's just completely unacceptable. So it's really tragic to hear these stories. But then it's also uplifting because of the bravery and strength of the Ukrainian people in resisting. You know, General Milley said they'll fight with kitchen knives if they have to. I don't think that's classified, Chuck. I think I can share that. And it's just really inspiring to behold the strength of the Ukrainian people fighting this war of aggression from Russia.
Sure. The president has said he will not send our soldiers into harm's way. But on a local level, people want to do something. What would you suggest they can do? Where are areas in which they can be helpful from afar?
Well, the first thing I want to say is we as Americans need to welcome refugees from this crisis. We need to increase our quotas. And there's, as of Thursday, over 1 million people had already fled Ukraine. We expect those numbers to just keep growing. People at home can, contribute funds, contribute supplies, be super careful about where you go for that. You can always go to my website to find, appropriate outlets. But there are many, many people who want to pitch in. We all want to pitch in, Chuck. I feel like there's more patriotic feeling around this than I've seen in a long time. This is an assault on democracy. It's an assault on, beloved friends and their families. And, we need to all stand together in this time.
Congressman, one more quick question along this line before we go to a break and then come back and turn our attention to domestic issues. Are the economic sanctions tough enough, and are they working to your satisfaction, or should we be a lot tougher? They're going after the oligarchs and others, but is it enough?
First of all, it's the most we've ever done anywhere. And especially to be lauded is President Biden's gathering up the whole world community. There's no more of this go it alone America. It wouldn't work. Sanctions only work if everyone participates. And to see the way he's encouraged other countries to lead, Germany jumping in, Switzerland, Japan, Korea, all around the world. So that's very important, but we need to keep ratcheting it up, Chuck. We are working on legislation, for example, that would allow us to actually seize the assets of oligarchs, because, unless you do that, you're not really inflicting the maximum pain. And I think that requires a legislative change.
We'll come right back and turn our attention to some of the domestic issues you're involved in. We'll be right back. Stay with us. People here at home are very concerned about inflation, and what's happening abroad could add to that. We're seeing gas prices going through the roof again. People go to the grocery store, they have to dig deep down into their pockets to pay for some of these items. How concerned are you about this? Is the Biden administration taking the right course of action? Because certainly some of his critics right now are saying, too little, too late, you're taking the wrong approach.
Yes, well, anytime I go to Meijer or Kroger, it's terrible, Chuck, and gas prices are going up. Here's the one thing we have to all recognize as patriotic Americans. This Ukraine crisis is going to cause prices to go up further. The price of fuels, of oil, has gone up 22% since Russia invaded. So that is something that we are going to have to look at ourselves and say, well, if we're going to stand with Ukraine, there's going to be some of that. But we've got to fight this inflation, and we've got to fight it aggressively. The Federal Reserve has a role to play here, and I expect them to play it by their handling of monetary policy. But President Biden has a big role to play too. And Congress does. We've got to lower costs for the American people. And he hit this hard in his State of the Union address. Let's cut the price of insulin. Let's negotiate the price of prescription drugs. These are really high costs that people face that we can deal with right now. Let's lower the cost of childcare, which so many families are dealing with. This is something we need to get the Senate off its duff and pass some of these measures that we've already passed in the House to lower costs for the American people, because it's just too much.
Sure. I can hear the bells in the back, so we know that you're in the halls of Congress and they're signaling you that it's almost time to vote. You're also very concerned about Voting Rights Act, and you've introduced a Voter Protection Act. Give us the status of that, why you're doing it, and what do you think the chances are that it's going to pass, given the partisanship that we have in Washington these days?
Yeah, Chuck. Well, I think that the protecting our democracy is my number one priority. It's got to be for all Americans who want to keep our 232-year experiment with self-government through democracy going. And I introduced the Election Worker and Polling Place Protection Act in partnership with John Ossoff over in the Senate. And that's to protect the process of voting, keep violence out of the polling places, keep intimidation, threats out. Would actually implement penalties against people who do that. It would extend those protections to voting, election volunteers, right, and election equipment workers. The folks who go in and work on election day shouldn't have to worry about being threatened or assaulted. And it also creates penalties for damaging polling places or tabulation centers or equipment. And this is a serious issue. We've seen overwhelming reports of the number of threats of violence during the 2020 elections. And, just last month, the candidate for governor in Michigan was caught on video encouraging people to be prepared to lock and load on election day and show up armed to polling places. We just want to have election polling places be zones of peace where people can vote in freedom and security.
President Biden has put forth the name of Judge Brown to become the next Supreme Court nominee. Do you feel she is the best qualified candidate, or is this just the president putting forth a name of someone for his own political base, which was strongly supported by African American women?
Yes, I think she's extremely qualified. And in fact, Chuck, by any measure, she's more qualified than most people who serve on the court now in terms of how long she's been a judge and how many cases she's done and opinions she's written and other things. So I think she's extremely well qualified. I'm very excited about this. The idea that we've had, scores and scores of justices, almost all of them white, just a few women and just a few people of color, and that somehow it's inappropriate for the president to say, at long last in our history, we're going to have a black woman on the Supreme Court of the United States. I say, hallelujah, it's about time. And he found a super qualified person. We're going to be extremely proud of her serving on the Supreme Court.
You're jumping from the 9th District over to the 11th District, which is now occupied by your colleague, your Democratic colleague, Haley Stevens. She was on this program not too long ago. She said that this is going to be a family fight, but not a disrespectful fight. First of all, why are you jumping from your district to her district?
I'm not jumping at all. I'm running right where I live, Chuck. These are brand new districts, right? We had a citizen commission that rewrote the map completely. And this new district includes so many communities I currently represent, and it includes where Mary and I have lived for the last 16 years. It includes Berkeley, where I grew up. My kids are the 5th generation of my family that's lived in this district. And so I'm running right where I live. And, I feel like this is going to be a positive race. I'm going to run on my record as an effective leader and bold progressive. I'm not running against anyone. Chuck, I was inspired to run for Congress as a 2-time cancer survivor and a dad of 2 kids with chronic illnesses when Donald Trump was trying to rip people's health care away. And the pandemic and the inequities it has laid bare make me all the more driven to stay in Congress, pass Medicare for all, and the fundamental policy changes our country needs to be a more just and beautiful society.
Simple yes or no. When all is said and done, after Election Day in November, will you and Haley Stevens still be friends?
Yes.
All right, very good. Congressman Andy Levin, thank you so much for joining us today on Spotlight. Give your best to your dad and the entire family, and we will stay in touch in a busy election year.
Thank you so much, Chuck. Take good care of yourself.
Thank you, same to you. And when we come back, we'll have a conversation with the president of Eastern Michigan University. Stay with us. Governor Whitmer has been running around the state from her State of the State address to anywhere she can on the campaign stump. And one of the things she's been touting is the fact that she has introduced the largest budget for higher education in history. And she's very proud of that if she can get all of this through the legislature. How will that affect you? And is she doing the right thing?
Well, first, she's absolutely right, Chuck. We've seen a decline in state appropriation since 2002. So when the governor says, this is a big lift, this is a big support for higher ed, she's indeed correct. What she's proposing is probably beyond what any of us as presidents thought would be on the table, but we're delighted by it. As a Great Lakes state, Michigan is last in state appropriation for the Great Lakes states. We're in the bottom third in the United States for state appropriation. So for us, it will mean more dollars to be able to operate out of the general fund. Hopefully it'll mean that we won't do much of a tuition raise coming forward as this appropriation settles out. As you know from all your years, the Senate and the House have to opine. This isn't something the governor could do on her own.
Correct.
But we think it's a very good starting point for us, and we're delighted.
As I understand, enrollment is up at Eastern Michigan University, I think, about 20%?
we're up 20% from our tough COVID year, but we're up 7% from pre-COVID.
Okay.
And we think that's the real mile marker for us, is how are we doing compared to pre-COVID? We know we had a lot of students that took gap years, took a year off during COVID. Some students just don't do well online. The methodology makes a difference for their learning. So we were very excited to see that increase. And you're right, we are a tuition dependent university. We depend on tuition dollars. We depend on student headcount, and we're always excited when we see that number going up.
Sure. President Smith, your board has approved a 3-year plan to spend $200 million to upgrade your campus and the buildings, and particularly the housing. How old are those buildings there?
We have buildings that are 50 years old, Chuck, and they are immaculately clean. I want to give full kudos to our folks in maintenance, our folks in custodial. They've done a wonderful job making those buildings look great, but they're not technologically ready for today's world. We have very, very old infrastructure in them. So what we don't remodel, we're going to actually build. We're going to build 2 new residence halls, and we're going to remodel every other residence hall. So it is a $200 million investment. It is about a 3-year process, as you said, and we're very, very anxious to see that roll out. We're bringing student groups together now. We're bringing faculty groups together. We have our staff giving us input. Obviously, we have our housing staff giving us a lot of input on what these need to look like, not for 2025 or 2027, but what do these buildings need to endure into the 2030s and the 2040s?
Real quick before we go to the break, how much input will students have in this process?
We've had a number of student groups. Student government's been involved. We've had residence hall residents involved. We did an international student listening group just a week or 2 ago. So we are listening to the consumer because they are the folks that live there. What the president thinks might be a really good idea for a residence hall is really superfluous. I don't live there. I don't work there. I don't study there. So we really want to hear from the mouths of our students what works for you, and hopefully what works for the next generation that comes after them.
We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to Spotlight. President James M. Smith. He is the 23rd president of Eastern Michigan University. COVID-19 pandemic has had so many ups and downs throughout this process. People are starting to come out of their masks. Numbers are starting to go down. Those are good things. Where are you at right now at Eastern Michigan University in dealing with this health pandemic?
Well, I will say, Chuck, your ups and downs are absolutely correct. I think probably about the 4th of July in 2021, I was reading the Washington Post or the New York Times, and it says, this is coming to an end. And I was getting really excited. And then Delta came, and then Omicron came. And we have been very, very cautious in how we've lived through this pandemic 2+ years. We were very early adopters of wastewater analysis. We have a Michigan-based company that's our colleague and has worked very closely with us. We were very early adopters of an extreme communication pattern where some people thought daily messages was a bit much, but we were trying to get as much information out as possible. Now we're feeling a little better. We still have masking requirements. We still have testing requirements. We have a testing center that models that of a hospital. We have our medical lab science students, our medical lab science faculty and staff working with us as we have testing opportunities for students, faculty, and staff. So we think we've been very deeply immersed, and our numbers have been very good. Now, during Omicron, of course, we had a blip upward, but that's gone down as we've seen it throughout the state. Where are we next is the question everyone asks me as I walk across campus or down the hallway. I think we're on winter break right now, Chuck. I think when we come back from winter break, we need about a 10-day period to assess. Winter break is like New Year's Eve on a college campus.
Yeah, it can be
lots
tough.
of students go to lots of places. They travel. They engage in fun activities in the South, and we want them to come back. We want to do some of that testing, get some good baseline data. But we're all hopeful that The mask can be maybe shed here towards the end of the semester, beginning of the summer. And we do a daily check-in pass to do a self-assessment of one's health. And we're wondering maybe that might be eased by summer. We're hoping by fall we might even be back to whatever that new normal is.
Sure. Dr. Smith, you at the university have taken in some of the Afghan refugees. How's that working?
It's been wonderful. We have 12 families with us. You've probably seen a little of the media on it, Chuck. We had some older married and family housing that was not being used. And Jewish Family Services came to us and we said, sure, we can accommodate. You mentioned students before. The students have really rallied around these families. I saw one of our student government young men playing soccer with one of the young children in the Afghan families. We've really enjoyed having them, and we look forward to working with them and hopefully helping them find permanent housing eventually.
We're all watching what's happening over in Eastern Europe. If you end up getting requests to take refugees from Ukraine, will you do that as well?
Well, I was hoping you would ask, Chuck. First, I want to say to all the viewers that have family, friends, business relatives in Ukraine, the university stands with you. We know and we understand the depth of the tragedy there. If you study Ukraine, the second largest city in Ukraine, Kharkiv, is a huge university city. They have federal universities, they have private universities. So as a university president, I feel for that city. Certainly I feel for the whole country. Our signage around campuses, all are welcome here, and we really want to live that message. All are welcome here. If we can open the door for opportunity for people, we want to be part of that door opening process.
All right, President Smith, there's probably no better way to end this interview than on that note. A lot more to talk to you about. We will get you back, we promise, and you can update us on other things that you're doing there in Ypsilanti. Thank you so much for joining us today on Spotlight.
Thank you, Chuck. It's always a pleasure to be with you, and thank you for your viewing audience for allowing me to be here for a little bit. Thanks.
Well, I'm sure they're glad to have you as well. Thank you so much and stay safe. And I'm Chuck Stokes. We'll be back next week with more newsmakers in the Spotlight. We hope you have a great week.